So now I want to come back to your business, if you don't mind. I think, or from what I understand, your business is quite unique in that most people that I've heard of selling or doing anything with horses generally have like a livery, and then they try and do it around the livery. From my understanding, your business is the selling and your own training, but you actually perhaps have someone else running the livery. Could you explain how that works?
So Jo is like my little life saviour. She is like Mama Bear. She does everything. It's great. I first met Jo when I moved the horses to Kiso. I only moved 4 horses into her yard. So she was renting a barn at Kiso when Simon Bates owned Kiso. And I was looking for a new yard. I had 4 horses at the time that I was riding. And I was like, right, I need somewhere new. Let's go to Kiso. So went and looked at one of the yards at Kiso. Actually, I've known Jo since I was a kid because she's always been at Kiso. She's had the yard for 10 years at Kiso. So I'd known her from when I used to go and compete there as a kid. I'd always seen her around, so I sort of like knew her to say hello to.
Yes.
Mum knew her quite well. Anyway, I was looking around the yard and she was sat on the veranda and we were just walking around the veranda and I just bumped into her and said, oh, hey. And she said, oh, what are you doing here? And I said, oh, we're looking for livery. And she said, oh, you didn't contact me. And I said, oh, I didn't know you had any spaces. And she said, oh, yeah, I've got 4. And I was like, I've got 4 horses. So next thing, we went over and had a look at her barn and it was just beautiful and it was so lovely. And we were like, right, we're moving in. We moved in the next week. And then as liveries, she had quite a lot of other liveries at the time. There was 21 stables there. And she had one of her own horses and the groom that worked for her had a horse there, but everything else was livery. And gradually, as a livery moved on or a horse moved on somewhere else, I was like, oh, can I have that stable? And she was like, yeah. And then I gradually had half a barn, like about 6 months later.
Nice.
And then I think after 2 years, the whole barn was then mine. And it just evolved from Jo running her own livery yard to Jo running my liveries for me because she was just the perfect person. Yeah, she's got a wealth of knowledge as to horse care. She's done it for years and years. And basically now she has her livery business. It is hers. And then I have my business, but we basically combine them together a little bit. So it's a bit messy, but it works perfectly for us.
Yeah, I mean, why it's interesting is, like I say, people are trying to have horses on livery and then sell them. And I think it's really interesting to hear that you've sort of separated the two.
Yeah.
And how does that look? Because if people are struggling to make a livery work and it's their own livery and their own training, and how would you explain how you've managed to make that work for someone that might find that interesting at home?
Yeah, so we charge a flat rate per week for training livery.
Yeah.
Portion of that is its full livery price.
Okay.
So Jo's full livery price gets paid to Jo, and the training livery comes to me. We work out a price that is competitive. It includes everything that we give people. Yeah. And it just seems to make enough money that everybody can live. It's not brilliant money. I don't think livery is brilliant money. No. But everybody can eat and the horses are very well looked after. Yeah.
And would you say, if you hadn't have met Jo at that time and gone down that journey, do you think you would have done the business like this anyway?
I don't think the business would have been as big as what it is now. Okay. I think I would have done it on a smaller scale. It is only because of the situation that I am in. I am very lucky. Like, I can walk in and out of that yard. I don't have to go for 2-3 days. Those horses are well looked after. We've now got 2 girls that work for us who, once they finish with Jo in the mornings, once they've done the morning routine, they then work for me for a few hours to help me out, getting horses ready, tacking up, untacking, all of the stuff that takes loads of time, washing horses, bathing horses, getting horses ready for show, getting the lorry ready for, it's a lot of stuff to do that on your own is quite difficult with that amount of horses. But because now we've got a really stable, good team, it just works.
It seems it. I've seen a lot of yards, a lot of different setups. Yours seems to just work.
Yeah,
really well.
I couldn't honestly tell you how it works. And I wouldn't want to let on our little secret.
No, of course.
But it just does. Like, yeah, okay, I'm not the easiest person in the world to work for. I like things done a certain way. Joe's exactly the same. We're very neat. We like things tidy. We like things looked after. I don't like the horses to be dirty. I like the beds to be immaculate. Joe likes everything to be really neat.
Yeah.
So that works because we are on the same page on nearly everything.
Yeah.
But we argue. Everybody does.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's very, very rare.
It's very hard not to have the odd argument.
I mean, I think I've argued with Joe twice in 7 years.
Oh, okay.
And really it wasn't even over a horse. It was nothing to do with a horse.
Right, okay.
But yeah, we just get it. We just seem to work. Joe knows exactly what she's doing. I know exactly what I'm doing, and it just gels. It just works. Perfect. And it's very hard. I wouldn't be able to replicate that anywhere else, I don't think.
No.
So it just is. It was just fate, and I think it was just luck.